Reading is a healthy form of escapism. Today we are talking about the why. For as long as I can remember, reading has been my favorite way to escape the mundanities and the complexities of life. There are a number of healthy forms of escapism. There's meditation, and there's exercising and traveling and trying new foods, and the list goes on. Basically, anything can be an escape from life's infinite capacity for human suffering. But reading has always been my favorite, and if you stay until the end of today's video, you'll leave with a deeper appreciation for the power of reading. And that's going to help you finish more books and get the absolute most out of every book that you read. My name is Samuel, but if you're watching this, you can call me Sam, and this is the only show on the internet produced by two corgis. Are you hungry for peanuts? For me, there's no better feeling than opening up a book with nice, smooth pages and to be able to connect with the characters and get lost in the plot and have the style of the writer's words color my experience. I found that if I read one author's work long enough, that the way they think, the way they write, I take it with me when I close the book, and it follows me throughout the day, whether I'm writing or whether I'm just thinking and walking around town. And now we want to share the words that today's video is centered around. If you remember one thing from today's video, I hope that it's this. Best-selling Canadian writer Margaret Atwood wrote, quote, "A word after a word after a word is power." So that's a short quote. It is one of the shortest that I have included in any of my videos. Despite its brevity though, it not only speaks to why I personally love reading, it also speaks to why reading books can be a healthy form of escapism. I would define escapism as some sort of cognitive diversion that allows people to step away from or to forget about their everyday life using the powers of their imagination and the seductive force of entertainment. There are innumerable forms of escapism. Some are better and some are worse. Exercising, meditation, and I would argue reading and writing are a few healthy examples. But there are also harmful forms of escapism like drugs and alcohol and finding someone to while you willfully despite the pain. So those aren't healthy. Hopefully that makes sense. Questions can be left in the comments, but for now we have to keep moving. Here's the meat of things. There are unhealthy forms of escapism and there are healthy forms of escapism. And reading is, generally speaking, considered a healthy alternative. And that is because, to quote one of my all-time favorite writers, Marcel Proust, in reality, every reader is, while reading, the reader of their own self. Whether you're reading one of the classics or a fantasy novel or something small like a haiku, reading is an escape. It is a paradoxical retreat from yourself into yourself. Reading can give you a break from the mundanities of everyday life. It can give you a break from the stressors of everyday life, from the bad thoughts that fill your head. And it does this with more thoughts, just the writer's thoughts, the writer's intentionally organized thoughts. But it can't really be any other way. Since I started making videos about reading and escapism, I've been wondering if everything is just escapism. Like, what can I define as not being a form of escapism? What is true existence? What am I escaping from? I go back and forth on my answers, so if you have any strong opinions, let me know in the comments, because I am so far down the rabbit hole at this point that it basically hurts to think about it. But I am getting off topic. So let's get back on the rails. Whether you need a break from school or your job or just life in general, a book will always be there for you. And that might sound like a simple idea, but I think it's a crucially important idea that can really motivate you to read deeper every time you approach a book. It inspires me to be in a better headspace when I read, and I think that helps me absorb the text. Ernest Hemingway once wrote, "There is no friend so loyal as a book." I love this quote. I think this quote is beautiful. Books are waiting for you to turn to them. They're waiting for you to peel apart their pages and discover their portable telepathic magic, which sounds like a lot, but thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And speaking from personal experience, I've noticed that the times when I feel most compelled to read, for whatever reason, tend to be some of the most difficult or stressful times. And in that truth, I think there's something fundamentally human. And this is why I think reading books can be such a valuable and rewarding form of escapism, because it goes beyond mere escape. So yes, reading books can distract us from everything going on in our daily life, but it also has the power to connect us to other people, to make us feel less lonely, and I think more human. To draw on the words of the famous French philosopher René Descartes, quote, "The reading of all good books is like a conversation with the finest minds of past centuries." If you've watched any of my videos before, you'll notice that I repeated two quotes, the Hemingway and the Descartes quote, but I don't think they've ever been featured in a video together. And I'm doing it now because I think revisiting these ideas can be extremely valuable when we consider how we might be able to get the most out of the books we read and how we can finish more books. When I consider this Descartes quote and the Hemingway quote, it makes me want to get up and go find a book and read. And I guess fortunately I don't have to go far. The ability to engage in conversation with the finest minds of past centuries, I think that's the life-changing power of reading books, to connect this back to the Margaret Atwood quote I mentioned in the very beginning. That's why reading is a healthy form of escapism. When you read, you shift your awareness away from thoughts that might be clouding your brain or your vision, and you can focus deeply on the intentionally organized words and stories that some of the finest minds throughout human history have created. When you read books, you can converse with great minds. You can converse with people who have been dead for centuries, and you can discover all the details, big and small, that connect you to them despite the time difference. And I think that's how reading makes us better people. It's how we can sit down with a book, and when we get up, we've changed. It's because of these conversations. We can separate ourselves from the noisiness and chaos of the world, and when we return to it, we have fresh eyes and a new perspective, and we're changed, even if it isn't some paradigm shifting change. And as an added bonus, at least in my opinion, escaping into books also grounds our memories. It colors how we remember our past. Think now of your favorite books and your favorite writers, and recall when you read them. There's some communication between the book and the time in your life when you read them, and I think by exploring that space, you can learn more about yourself. And reading is also a healthy form of escapism because it helps us harness the powers of language. It uses the specificity of language to remind us that our trials and tribulations are exactly what connect us to everybody that we pass throughout our daily lives. Reading books for escapism gives us access to the genius of history's greatest minds at the same time that we're staring into a mirror and analyzing ourselves. And now we are interested in hearing your thoughts. Thank you. So let me know in the comments if you are interested in finding the books that are right for you and deepening your reading experience. I hope you'll check out this playlist, which has many and many videos about the art, the act of reading. I want to help you master reading and master writing, because if you figure out how to harness the powers of language from a reading and writing perspective, you can change the world, and you can change your own life and the lives of the people around you for the better. These are fundamental subjects, and I don't think you should have to pay for them to get better. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate that you chose my video out of all the other videos. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.